Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Ignite podcast. So awesome to have you here. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Josh Stone, founder of Ignite Coaching, where I work specifically with engineering consultancies to help them grow and scale their teams and their businesses. So today I want to talk to you about a leadership topic, and I'm calling today's topic the difference between dictator and a leader. So the difference between being a director and not a business director, but being like a real harsh kind of director or a dictator of activities in your team or your business versus being a leader. And so I want to explore this through the lens of creating amazing culture, creating a high-performing team, really ensuring that you are empowering your team and the people around you to do things differently, to be autonomous. And one of the biggest frustrations that I work with so many business owners of engineering consultancies. One of the biggest frustrations they talk to me about is that the team aren't autonomous enough. And when that occurs, it's really looking at the business leader and going, well, are you a dictator or are you a leader? In terms of, are you empowering the team around you to make mistakes, to do things for themselves, to think for themselves, to take carriage of certain things and initiatives in the business? Or are you basically just telling people what to do all the time? So one of the studies or the statistics that I talk to my coaching clients a lot about is that it takes anywhere between 7 to 10 times of you telling someone something, whether it's a new topic, new way of doing things, a new value system in your business, 7 to 10 times of that person hearing it before it actually sinks in. And so many leaders and business owners just go, well, I should just have to tell them once and they should just get it right. Well, no, that's not how the brain works. And that's not how, human beings work. It's about recognizing that the process of giving people work, the process of delegation, the process of empowering your team actually is a process. It's not a one-time thing and all of a sudden they're, hallelujah, they're a high-performing team. And so what I want to talk about today is actually a number of things. The importance of time, the importance of recognizing that it takes 7 to 10 times for someone to understand something new or get something new, and your role as a business owner or business leader in fostering and facilitating the growth of your team. So I guess in terms of the 7 to 10 times element, we're all time poor. We as leaders and business owners just go, they should just get it. Smart people, why can't they just, why can't I just explain to someone one time and they just get it and run with it? The reason for that is that, this person that you're delegating to or empowering your team has got a whole bunch of other stuff going on in their brain. And it's about this whole process of brain plasticity in terms of the brain is plastic. It is malleable, it can learn new things, but it needs time. It needs to hear those things in repetition before it sinks in from the conscious to the subconscious part of your brain. So we're so time poor. And then when we delegate something to our teammate or someone on our team, and it comes back awful or not even close to what you expected, the tendency is to go, that person is an idiot or that person's not good at what they do. Therefore, I'm just going to do it myself. And so you do that enough times and, you say you're trying to delegate and you're trying to empower the team, but you're really setting them up for failure. You're not setting them up for success, which is sitting down with that person and going, this is a process. I'm explaining something new to you here. My vision for you in the business or my vision for you in this team is within 6 months' time, you're really proficient at this task. Don't worry if the first couple of times are not that great. If you've got heaps of questions for me, that's fine. I'm here to answer your questions. But it's really setting your teammates and team members and employees up for success in terms of recognizing that these things take time. And you can't just sit down once with someone and go, great, I've explained it to you, off you go, you've got it. It's setting them up for success in terms of really explaining the process and making sure that you're checking in, making sure that you're constantly stopping and checking in with these people on your team. How are you going with that new process? Do you have any questions? And this is all about time. We're so time poor that we want things to be done quickly and efficiently, but getting frustrated, assuming you're going to delegate once and it doesn't happen properly, then you just take it back on for yourself and go, oh, fine, I'll just do it myself then. Again, doesn't free you up as a business leader or business owner. And it's not empowering the people around you to take on new responsibility and to learn new things. So that's kind of the first thing I want to talk about, is that it takes time. It's a process. You have to set your team up for success. You have to set them up for being able to ask you questions. You have to be open, approachable, being ready and available to answer questions, all of those sorts of things to make sure that you're playing the longer game too, in terms of, I'm delegating to Steve or Mary over here, and he or she is going to be running that process in the business in 6 months' time. I can stop, I can pause, I can slow down. I recognize this is a process. It's going to take them time. Here, I'm committed to them learning that. And by you taking that long-term vision or long-term view, as opposed to this short-term game of just trying to get something off your plate and give it to someone, again, you're setting your team up for success. The other thing I want to talk about is really the importance of explaining the bigger picture. So again, this whole dictator versus leader is, a dictator just tells people what to do. You do this, okay? You do that now. You do this, you do that now. And you are dictating and you're just telling people what to do. That's not being a leader, and it's also not setting your business up for success, and it's not setting your business or your team up for success or to be able to run without you. Because again, you are training your team to just be told what to do, as opposed to your team starting to think for themselves, think autonomously and go, okay, that's the next step in the process. I'm going to start that. I'm going to see how far I can get. I might have some questions. That's okay, because, you know, my boss or my leader has really empowered me to think outside of the box and think for myself and do things autonomously. And they're going to push the envelope. They're going to get a bit curious about what's the next step in that process, or can I make this process better, or can I make this outcome for my client better? As opposed to the dictator approach, which is they don't think outside their box. They're too afraid to do anything else other than what they're told to do, and you're just creating a rod for your own back. So as you move to that leadership role, one of the most powerful things I've seen is when you stop, you slow down, and you take the time to explain to the person why this is important. So instead of going, can you just bunch out this bill of quantities for me, or can you just do this design for me, or can you just go to site and check on that steel measurement for me, or can you just go make sure that that hole in the ground is deep enough, whatever. Dictator will just tell people what to do with no context. So that's stopping people from thinking for themselves. Whereas if you actually pause and take the time and go into those conversations with, I'm asking you to do this, and here's the reason why. This is why it's so important that we go out to site and make sure that that hole in the ground is big enough. Or this is why it's so important that we get the bill of quantities right. And you give them context in terms of, this is why it's so important. And this is how this piece of the puzzle fits into the broader picture of what you do here in your job, or, you know, the outcomes that you get for your clients. And so if you can stop and take the time to explain to them why this is important, an important activity, one, they're going to take it more seriously in terms of, oh, wow, if I get these quantities wrong, that means that that gets priced incorrectly, and that means it goes to the client incorrectly, and that means that they go to the bank and get the wrong funding for that, and they can see the ramifications of their actions, as opposed to, here, just do this bill of quantities and get it done by the end of today. The person who's just told to get the bill of quantities done by the end of the day is just going to rush to get it done by the end of the day and do the best that they can, but they've got no context. They've got no context of why that's important. So if you give them context, which is, these are all the ramifications of getting it wrong, and that's why this is so important, they're going to stop. They're going to slow down. They're going to ask you questions about, okay, well, I don't quite understand how to calculate this, or when I went to site, I didn't quite understand why that was sticking out of the ground like that over there. One of the biggest leadership strengths is slowing down, explaining the why, and giving context. because an employee or a staff member or a team member with context can start to think outside of the box and go, oh, okay, well, explain to me that this is how this fits into the overall picture. And while I was on site, I actually noticed that they hadn't quite finished that part of the whole equation. And that's going to hold up over here, because remember, you told me that that's got to go in sequence. So I was on site and I saw that was going to occur. Therefore, I need to, take action to make sure that those things get back into sequence. Whereas the person who's just been dictated to and told to do something is just going to do that thing with blinkers on without any consideration of anything else around them. So that's so powerful from a leadership point of view, building great culture, empowering the people around you to think for themselves, to get outside of their comfort zone, to think a bit differently, to look for problems outside of their remit or what they've been told to do. And ultimately that builds a better team. That builds a better team who, are looking for problems, are creating unique solutions to those problems, are keeping the clients informed. Clients are happy because problems are being warded off before they become problems, that kind of thing, as opposed to the dictator where you just got a rod for your own back. You're the one that everyone has to keep coming to because you keep telling them what to do. So really start to think about whether you're a dictator or whether you're actually a leader. And if you're a dictator and you notice dictating kind of tendencies, really stop, get real for yourself for a second and question whether that's serving you, your team, or your business. I guarantee it's not. And start to do some of the things that we've talked about today in terms of stepping into that leadership space. Recognize that it takes time for people to learn new skills. Set your team up for success. Create time and space in your calendar to answer those questions and to help support, build, and nurture your team. And make sure that you're giving your team context, explaining to them the why and the bigger picture and how it all fits in. And you are well on your way to building a high-performing team, a really profitable business that has clients that are just raving fans. So, team, that's all I wanted to cover today. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Dictator versus leader. Love to help you grow your team or your business. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And if you'd like some help with this stuff, again, I love working with my clients around this. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We can have a chat and see how I can help you build your team or your business. Have an amazing day. Bye.